Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all here tonight, and it is a real pleasure to welcome you to this evening's talk, and a genuine privilege to have Ambassador Sahatqija on our campus and to welcome her. I've had a chance to interact with the ambassador a couple of times today. We actually exchanged gifts, and as the weather would indicate, her gift to me was a winter scene of Jokova, and my gift to her had a polar bear theme, so perfect for today, no doubt, right? But we are so grateful for her time and for sharing her insights on the theme this evening. And I would also want to note that tonight couldn't happen if it wasn't for the fact that we have in the Law College a Center for Democracy and the Rule of Law. A center that in recent years and recent months has become very successful in attracting opportunities for us to have people from different countries on this campus to engage in education for democracy and the rule of law. And tonight we focus on Kosovo, of course. And we are very, very glad to have our faculty from Kosovo here with us. And this is a special evening for that program. The leadership of Professors Fenton and Anderson, we are very grateful for, especially the recent evolution of the center, and we are very proud of what we have been able to develop to this point and look forward to that. And it is also worth noting, I think, that the center itself wouldn't exist but for the fact that we are celebrating an LLM program that has been in existence for 10 years now. This is a milestone year for our LLM program. And Professors Hall and Kamatali are here as well. Their leadership has been extraordinary in the development and the current leadership of our LLM program. So it all fits together, and the synergy that we've had between LLM and this center is what we are celebrating tonight. And we are glad to extend this relationship with Kosovo, and as we talked in some of our conversations earlier today, we are certain that this is only the beginning, and that we want to extend our partnership and see how we can think of other ways to cooperate and collaborate with our new friends from Kosovo. So with that, let me ask Professor Fenton to come to the podium to introduce our speaker this evening. Professor Fenton.
Thank you, Dan. It's one of the great things about doing what we do here at Ohio Northern is the support we get from the administration, particularly from Dan, and it's always a pleasure to be working with him. This is something special for us. We don't often welcome ambassadors, and this week we're actually going to have two ambassadors speaking to us here at the law school. Professor Sahatqija from Kosovo, and our ambassador from the United States, who's former ambassador to Afghanistan, who'll be here speaking on Thursday. So we're very fortunate. Ambassador Sahatqija is the head of the diplomatic mission of Kosovo in New York City, which is actually larger than their mission in Washington, D.C., an indication of the importance that they attach to that. She is in charge of the Kosovo Consulate, but is also the liaison to the United Nations. And over the last day and a half, we've heard some wonderful stories about her work with representatives of other countries at the United Nations, some of whom are great advocates for Kosovo and some of whom are not. So it's an unusual position, as many of you probably know. Kosovo is not recognized by all countries after its independence and creates special challenges. It's been enlightening and encouraging to hear her stories. She was a member of Kosovo Parliament after her first mandate in 2004, and she most recently served as chair of the Parliamentary Committee on European Integration. She has extensive political experience which I think we've heard about in the last day or so. Vice President of the Democratic League of Kosovo, a member of the All-Party Women's Caucus in the Parliament, which I suspect you'll hear about tonight. She is a well-known activist for women's economic and political empowerment in her work, and I can say that after listening to her with my class and with others, that she is a very passionate activist for women's economic and political empowerment. She has a Bachelor's of Science and Master of Science degrees in Electronic and Telecommunications Engineering from the University of Pristina in Kosovo. She also received a graduate certificate after completing the Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies program at Dartmouth. We are delighted to have her here. She has given us tremendous experience, our students a tremendous experience, and we're happy that she'll be able to share that with you. So, Madam Ambassador.
So, good evening. I am very happy, very delighted to be today with you and to have possibility to talk about our young country through the theme of leadership role of women in transitional state. Before that, I want very much to thank the President, Dandy Yazio, to thank Howard Fenton, that is responsible for this visit here. I want to use opportunity to congratulate our 6 students and professors who are here, and with whom I saw that they are the best ambassadors of Kosovo here, and I want to thank them not only for their individual work, but also what are they doing for their and our country. I had this day a very good opportunity to see some of campus, to be in laboratories, in labs of engineering that reminded me of my time of working with oscilloscope and power meter and some other things that I really missed. So today I would like to talk about women leadership, about transition that my country passed during this decade. But talking about women, I will talk about history of my country, of our country. So before that, I would like to start with some slides. Are we looking? Yes. So this is a flag of Kosovo. The state of Kosovo is 9-year-old, and you can see the logo of celebration of 9 year. It's beautiful, I think. Kosovo is that golden center with 6 stars. In fact, Kosovo has, we will see, 90% of population are Albanian. And there are 5 other communities. In our flag, all communities have the same size of star. We are proud of that. In 17th of February, there was, in 2008, we declared our independence. And this is a monument of independence. The first one, 9 years ago, was golden. But interesting thing is that every year, that monument changed colors. The colors and themes depend on what are we going through. You see that the second one is full of flags. There are flags of countries who recognize Kosovo. The other theme last year was clouds and wire. Kosovo is still, unfortunately, the only country in European continent that still do not have liberalization of visa. And our artists, through that, wanted to show that we are seeing the sky, but we are not able to walk, to go and meet you. This year, it was very interesting. Newborn was turned to no walls. we had some incidents, and we were sending the message that Kosovo is not a country that likes wars. We are a country that likes freedom, and wars and freedom don't go together. Some of numbers. Capital of Kosovo is Pristina. Total population is 1,700,000, less than 2 million. The territory is pretty small, so every reference in America and Kosovo are not working, so maybe we will skip. Everything is bigger and different here. 90% are Albanian, 10% are Serbs, Turks, Bosniaks, Roma, Ashkali, Gorani communities. We have a very modern constitution. We will talk about that. We are a secular state, although vast majority is Muslim, but we are a secular state. We have an open market economy, and the official language is Albanian and Serbian. And all members of parliament who are Turkish or Bosniak or Serb or other, they talk in their languages. In municipalities where there is at least 3% of that population, then they have official language in there. We are recognized by 114 states and around 60 international organizations. We are a member of World Bank, of IMF, and many other organizations. So what do you know about Kosovo? I'm sure that you know this. You know Mother Teresa. Her parents were from Kosovo, and when she received the call from God, she received in a church within Kosovo. You probably heard about Rita Ora. Rita Ora is a very popular singer, and here you can see her with a flag singing a song especially for Kosovo. Shine Your Light, I think that was the song. Kosovo participated in Rio Olympics for the first time, and the first time immediately our judoka Majlinda Kemendi brought gold home. And after that, she's not missing golds. 4 in a row in international sport competition, she is always bringing gold. And many other boys and girls, excuse me, more girls than boys, are bringing medals to Kosovo. Dua Lipa, Era Istrefi are also very popular world-class singers that are from Kosovo, and they proudly tell that. Before that, let's see some geography. Where is Kosovo? I saw that in America sometimes I have difficulty to explain where it is. Is it in Europe or Russia or where? So it is in southeastern Europe, in Western Balkans. That blue or yellow, I don't know how it is in the slide, that diamond shape is Kosovo. So we are confined with Albania, Montenegro, Serbia, and Macedonia. Kosovo, probably for law is important to know that Kosovo was at the same time the constitutive part of Yugoslavia, as autonomous province and constitutive part. After Tito's death in 1980, all constitutive parts had one president, and Kosovo had a president of Yugoslavia in 1986-87. That shows that it was a special case and very at the same stage as other republics. So in 1989, Kosovo's autonomy was suppressed and closed secondary school and university programs in Albanian language. Massively fired Albanian intellectuals and professionals from the jobs. The discriminatory law made Kosovo social-owned companies part of companies in Serbia. Albanians were living in a factual apartheid, heavily discriminated based on ethnicity. In the end of 1989, Democratic League of Kosovo was the first political party in the region that started transition from one-party system to pluralism. LDK became the movement that gathered all Albanians in Kosovo and abroad into organized peaceful resistance. The time of peaceful resistance was the time when houses, churches, and mosques became schools and hospitals. It was the time when the world became aware of the grave human rights situation in Kosovo under Milosevic's regime. Women activists had incredible impact in the peaceful resistance as organizer of the resistance, protest organizers, humanitarian work, education, health, and all other activities. Women during this time became aware of their power, transforming from those who care only about their family to the ones who takes care about community. They became the leaders and active participants in public life and preparing themselves for taking their part in freedom and building the state. This slide was very difficult to find. When I was typing in Google about war in Kosovo, very horrible pictures came out. And I didn't want that to represent, so I chose only one. It was the time of exodus. It was a time when 1 million Albanians were thrown out of Kosovo. And this picture in times represents that exodus, and a mother who is breastfeeding its baby and going through mountains. Myself, my family, and many other families were refugees that time. Of course, the war produced a lot of killing and a lot of bad emotions. Today we are still facing a lot of missing persons. And you can see we've been very active in demanding where those missing persons are. In fact, war in Kosovo was the fourth and the last war of Serbia with the neighboring countries. After the short war with Slovenia, the bloody one with Croatia, genocidal long war with Bosnia, Serbia in 1999 finally attacked Kosovo. This war ended the process of dissolution of Yugoslavia. During the war in 1999, Milosevic led military, paramilitary, police forces expelled 1 million of people out of borders of Kosovo, killing 13,500 individuals, sexually abused around 20,000, mostly women, burned thousands of houses, libraries, monuments. 1,664 persons are still missing. Some of this information can be found in a web page and documentary of Humanitarian Law Center in Belgrade. You can see also the film Depth 2 and General Dikovic that tell a lot. During the war, women and children were not the ones who were safe from the atrocities. In contrary, they were the most targeted victims of torture, sexual abuse, as the war weapon of the long-term physical and emotional destruction of the individuals and families. Usual inability to talk about this crime and stigma made those criminals protected from their crimes. But thanks to long-term powerful work of civil society, women parliamentarians, and especially engagement of former President, Madame Atifete Yahyaga, this issue is not anymore the taboo issue. After many years of work and debate, Parliament passed the law that recognized war, sexual abuse individuals as war crimes that are entitled to compensation as every other victims of the war. It was very difficult to achieve. It was very difficult for most people, especially men, to admit that that existed. Memorial called Heroinat. Heroinat means women heroes. Has been proposed by a woman parliamentarian and voted by all MPs. This memorial is regularly visited by highest government officials on Women's Day. You can see here the women who proposed, it's me also, and Prime Minister, who is paying respect to this monument. The monument is made by 20,000 medallions. Each of them has a picture of a woman. and it represents those 20,000 women victims of the war. Installation of Alketa Mripa Jaffa with the title Thinking of You was a part of this big process of talking about these victims and telling that they are victims and stigma does not have a place for that. So this installation gathered 5,000 dresses. I gave one of my dresses. A lot of women gave their dresses or skirts. And those was put in a football stadium, 5,000 of them. It's a quarter of that number, to visualize the number of women victims of wars. The blue skirt that you see there, that discovered during that time, had a very painful story. Women of Kosovo, civil society, politics took active part in preparation for independence. They made gender equality issue that need to be cherished and respected and protected by the Constitution and law. So Article 7 of our very modern Constitution elaborates on the values of the country, whereby gender equality is stated as a basic value of the country. Not easy to achieve. I know how much work, how much fight was put in that, but it is not there. So Article 7 has 2 paragraphs. It says, the constitutional order of the Republic of Kosovo is based on the principles of freedom, peace, democracy, equality, respect for human rights and freedom, and the rule of law, non-discrimination, the right to property, the protection of environment, social justice, pluralism, separation of state powers, and a market economy. The second part says, Republic of Kosovo ensures gender equality as a fundamental value for the democratic development of the society, providing equal opportunities for both female and male participation in the political, economic, social, cultural, and other areas of societal life. This article was used by us very much. It helped in making the laws, in advocation of gender equality wherever we can. Article 22 says that convention, direct applicability of international agreement and instruments. So CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, is a part of our Constitution. We have a very interesting article also, Article 37, about rights to marriage and family. And that article says, based on free will, everyone enjoy the right to marry and the right to have a family as provided by law. It does not say men and women. It says everyone enjoys the right to marry. I'm not sure that when it was drafted everybody knew what it is. But it's good. So, except this, we have also the laws that help, that are based in that Article 7. The law on parliamentary election, the law on municipal election, the law on gender equality, and the Agency for Gender Equality are some of affirmative action and the laws that help this gender equality to become reality. Again, I know how much fight, how much work, how much emotion, how much energy was put in that by women in civil society, by women in parliament, and men. So, let's see what is the today's situation. We had the first woman president of state in Balkans. 33% of women are in parliament. In municipalities that are more than 30% of representation of women. We have 30% of ambassadors, including DC, New York, Rome, Brussels, Bern, and other. Unfortunately, we have only one mayor. So in municipal level, we have to work much, much more. We have a president of the Constitutional Court, and we have a president, chair of election commission that are women. In 2012, we had a very big Women Global Summit organized by president. And here you can see our president in the middle, Hillary Clinton, Ashton, Madam Ashton from European Union, two ministers that are at that time, and one of them is now ambassador in Washington. The first row standing, there are women from Women Cross-Party Caucus, and in the back are women from civil society, from business, and others. The American ambassador is the one with at the right, okay, at the right with a dark red dress, and the USAID chair was also a woman that time, in 2012. So there were a lot of strong women at the same place at the same time. So let's go a little bit more. You can see here the Women Cross-Party Caucus. Very important group of women. It is a group of 40 women, all women regardless political parties, regardless nationality, regardless religion, they are all together. And I'm very happy that they do not have any political agenda. The only agenda is how to promote women, and through women to promote economy of the country, democratization of the country, and working together. So Parliament today have 39 women, last Monday was one more, that represent around 33% of the total number of MPs. The same percentage is reflected in municipal level due to obligatory quota of election law. In other institutions that do not pass under the obligation of quota, the situation is improving but much slower. In government, out of 20 ministers, now are 5. At the beginning were only 2. The Minister for Dialogue with Serbia and the chief negotiator is woman, after many work to have that. There is still no woman deputy prime minister in this mandate, although in the last one there were 2. Only one mayor is woman from 38, and as you see, as you saw, the president of Constitutional Court and chair of Central Election Committee are women. So legislative quota automatically improved women presence in the parliament and municipality council. It created the critical mass needed to start the process of women empowerment and gender equality. At the beginning, when there was quota, in every interview, the journalists were asking, do you think that this 30% damaged the quality of the parliament? And I was replying with a question, do you think that this 70% of men represent the quality of a parliament? They didn't answer. So what we need to do still? We have to work a lot more. I think that education and working in curricula is something that we really need to work. The women in civil society and men now, and women parliamentarians and women all over are not tolerating anymore when children in an elementary school learn that Mother M is mother and mother is cooking and the father is coming with a bag from the job and he's tired. No, we don't want that anymore. Father can cook also and mother can go to work. So these things were not easy to achieve, but step by step they are also changing. Kosovo is the state that passed through a lot of transition, and none of them easy or short. Women in Kosovo were active players and changed their and the life of others. Former refugees that fled Kosovo during the war became today top singers as Rita Ora, Dua Lipa. The top sportists in European football are Kosovar boys. Liberation of Kosovo and presence of many international organizations created the environment for women to get jobs and move to towns, get education and have specializations, enabling them to start businesses, buy properties, and be aware of their power and leadership skills. Declaration of Independence set up our diplomacy and enabled women to represent Kosovo all over the world as ambassadors. Membership in international organizations enable our citizens to shine in sports like judoka Majinda Kelmendi that opened the door for many other girls and boys. Many scholarships for graduate studies and professional certificates gathered hundreds of Kosovar students and gave the supreme education through Young Cell Scholarship in Europe and USA with Fulbright, with Kosovo American Education Fund, with Transformational Leadership Program, with USAID programs, and many others. Scholarships were earlier inaccessible to Kosovar citizens. So what we need to do next, we need to build, okay, these are some of work of Women Caucus, and I will stop in one of slides. So we need to build alliances between women and maintain the old ones. We need to create a group of women in parliament, in municipalities, in judiciary, in police, and networking between those groups. We need to pass the law on political parties that we still do not have, that oblige them to obey law on gender equality. Unfortunately, still the heads of political parties, the presidencies, have very few women. And when it comes to decide about who will be the minister, who will be the mayor, who will be the president of a parliament, are those men who are deciding for each other. So we need still more to work. Up to now we were unable to push, but I'm sure that the time will be very soon to pass this law also. The projects that will empower women that we started in Kosovo as a Week of Women. You can go to internet, type weekofwomen.org, and you will find a lot of information about this very effective project that every year is empowering 100 women, mostly out of capital, and bringing them supreme training and possibility to meet important people and infect them with self-confidence and networking, and to go to continue their work in their environment. Another thing that we need is to have a gender-responsive budgeting. So these are the next steps to approach gender equality that help progress and economic development and statehood. And I will tell a little bit about some of pictures. You can see a picture with a camera there. It was a very interesting story that this picture shows. 3 or 4 years ago, we had a list of ambassadors came to the parliament, and in that list were 0 women. They were all men. And one woman who was in a committee for foreign affairs came to me as a president of Women Caucus and told me, Teuta, we cannot make the names public, but just for your information, there are no women there. What shall we do? And then we needed only 5 minutes. And we gathered 40 women in parliament. And we went out, boycotted the parliament, called all media, have a conference for media. We were very angry, then dispersed all over the media, in one television, in another television, another. And we said, this list will not pass. We will not allow this list to pass if there are no women in that. And it became a very big issue. Most of media transmitted that. But it was one media that started to mock us. And they were putting a video of us talking, and at the background was a song of a wedding. And we were even more angry. We said, this is a message. This is articulation that you women, if you dare to talk about diplomacy, or about high politics, or about issues that are not your women issues, we will mock you. And we took that challenge, and then organized that conference about portraitization of women in media. And we made it even bigger deal. And the same media, again, they tried to mock us. Put that song and saying, don't you like this song? And then the association, the group of civil society organizations, they were furious. And they said, this needs to stop. Don't do that anymore. We are not happy. You are telling young girls never go to politics because we will mock you. And then they were a little bit shaky, but they continued again for the third time. And in the third time, we sent the letter to the committee that give licenses to television. And in the meantime, neither president, none of parliamentarians, or ministers, or important players of civil society, none of them went to that television anymore. And after some months of this playing with that, they apologized, and then we started to go to that. But that was now taken as example in universities, an example when they are teaching about gender and about election. What else? Kosovo's first female president, Her Excellency Atifete Yahyaga. We have in police the Colonel Taibet Zanoli. We have Manushache Noura in our security forces. And Arlena Shala, the young girl, is in West Point. She finished in West Point. So yes, there are women in fields that somebody wrongly called man field. And this I found in internet and I like it very much. There are 3 boys who are watching football, and it said equality doesn't mean justice. In the first part, it says this is equality. And the small one cannot watch. But justice is when you create affirmative measures. So everybody to have a just approach and to be able to contribute. So I prepared this, and thank you very much.
We have time for some questions that the ambassador has agreed to answer. I want to start, though, with a question from a Ohio Northern University graduate from 2011 who saw the announcement about this program and said that he was in the Peace Corps and was about to go to Kosovo. And he wanted to know if this was being recorded so he could watch it. And we said, yes, it was. But if you have some questions you'd like the ambassador to address, please send them in. So he sent us several questions. I'd like to start with one of his, and that is, what can women in Kosovo do to address the concerns of the Serbian minority and the tensions that exist in some places between the Serbian minority and the Albanian majority?
Thank you so much for this question. I will tell some very concrete steps that we did. In 2006, We called prominent women because there were not only Albanians. We formed a regional women lobby. And the biggest number of that lobby were women from politics, from media, from civil society, from Serbia, and from Kosovo. And we tried to work together, and we are still working together, meeting regularly and trying to build the bridges. Another thing that I'm very proud as women parliamentarians, we started the project to establish the link with the women parliamentarians in Serbia. It was at the end of 2011. We met for the first time and we asked an organization to facilitate and to help this dialogue, since we knew that direct communication will be impossible. We chose OSCE, Organization for Security in Europe, Security and Cooperation in Europe. And they were delighted to start that. So in 2012, in January, we met for the first time. Since the war and the recent, very difficult history, the ties that existed earlier were broken. And politics tried to make as worse communication as it is. But we met for the first time in Budva. It was interesting. We were more looking at each other than talking. But after that, the day next, we started to find the points that are connecting us. The point as curriculum were same, discriminatory. The points of position of women inside the political parties were the same. And we started to talk about politics without daily politics. We met next year. And next year we decided not to be anymore illegal, but to go public. And we decided to have a documentary film. In that film, we show that we are talking, we are working together, and we are looking toward a brighter future. If you enter to YouTube and type "follow us" and OSCE, you can find that film. And I would like you to put in your curricula and use that film as a film where women build bridges. Usually men are those who make wars, but women are those who make peace. And in that film, you can see our cooperation. We showed that film in Belgrade and in Pristina. There were more cameras than if, I don't know who will come. And all of them were very interesting how we managed to put the women from Parliament of Serbia sitting in seats of Parliament of Kosovo, or vice versa. But we did that. For politicians, it is not easy. It's easier to be populist and to fight for big rights, but doing these steps is not easy. Another thing that we did with Women Caucus was to break these nationality divisions, party divisions. And I'm very happy that women from certain municipalities approached me and other women, Albanians, and asked them helping to establish women caucuses in Shtrpce, in Mitrovica, in Gračanica, and we did that. This week of women that started in 2012, that gathered 100 women. They didn't gather only Albanians. This week of women gathered women from Serb, from Turk, from Bosniak communities. And there, they didn't have any divisions. That show that these little steps are things that can make a difference. Another project that we were talking about, mobile mammography. Mobile mammography said, so what? It is a truck with a scanner where women are having breast cancer screening and other. But that track went freely to all municipalities. To municipality with Serb, Bosnia, Turk, Albania. And this is also one more step to build bridges. And I'm very proud that women are doing that and doing that as it should be.
Okay, you have questions from the audience that, yeah, what is it?
I want to know, first, thank you for the lecture. wanted to know if, is there any provision in the national curriculum of educational curriculum that addresses gender equality to children that is mandatory for schools to teach anything about gender equality since early school? And if not, do you think this is an important step towards gender equality in
It is
Kosovo?
the most important. And that is a step to have in the future gender equality. Teaching boys and girls that there is no difference, not physical, not intellectual difference between them. And there is no boys works, man's field, or women field. That is the most important. In recent years, civil society and parliament was very active in that. So we identified books where there was discriminatory language and asked those books to be taken out of curriculums. And it was pretty active. Not only that, but also in media. We were talking about the advertisement of diapers. And in advertisement of diapers, there was a popular singer of popular songs, of majority. And that daddy, that father, took a little daughter, sang to her, and changed diaper. And I think that with these small steps in curriculum and in media, changes can happen. But also we cannot work only with women, although it's very important, because not all women think like that. Some women think that they should be subordinated. So with them we should work. But also we have to work with men. And I want to tell that in Kosovo there is an NGO. It's called Be Man. And when you hear that, what do you think immediately? Some musculous man with cigar, with that. No, those are boys who got to the center of Pristina and cook. And tell that cooking is not only women's job. They are talking to young boys, teaching them, first starting with a football game and beers, and then teaching them that respect for women, working with them together, not having division is very important. So I think that we need to work in several dimensions to achieve that. Not waiting first this, then that, but to work in several platforms.
I come from a country where the initiative of empowering women to get to the roles, as you've stated, is happening in Kosovo. It's being hampered by a syndrome called a pull-down syndrome, where women amongst themselves sometimes they conflict each other and probably trying to fight over roles, and then tend sometimes to weaken the efforts amongst themselves. Is this an experience in your country? If at all, that has also probably prevailed at some point. What other avenues have you taken in order to kill that down and enhance the initiative of empowering women?
Yeah. You are talking about sexual abuse to women during the war?
No, not really. But women amongst themselves sometimes pulling each other.
Yeah.
That while others
Yes.
are trying to promote the idea, others tends to side with the men, or probably not even wanting to support the initiative by
Yes, of
bringing
course.
confusion and some other
I
activities.
will tell you a story. I was waiting for a visa for Sweden. And we were a group of men and women going to Sweden for a conference. I don't remember what kind of conference was that. And at the same time, since I was a public figure and everybody knew me, a young woman was looking at me and frowning, and at one point she couldn't stand and stood up and came to me and said, "Are you the woman who are fighting every night in television with men?" Excuse me? Yeah, I'm talking to you. If I was your husband, I would beat you every day. I I said, what can I do to start to enlighten her? I said, no, it's very little time to enlighten her or to do something. And I ask you, is your husband beating you? She said, of course, every time I deserve. So yes, there are women who are undermining the other women's efforts. And I believe that if a woman respects herself first, then she is able to respect other women. If she do not respect herself, how can she respect or see another woman, parliamentarian or director or other? That's why we need to work in a multi-dimensions. We need to work with curriculums, as a student said there, and to tell them that beating is not even for animals, and don't think about humans, that the women do not deserve to be beaten. The animal don't deserve to be beaten, and not a woman. So we need to work to strengthen their respect for themselves. As I told, to infect them with a self-respect, to give them education, to give them possibility to work together, to make the networks when they can learn from each other, not with a woman whose husband is beating every time she deserves, but with other women to stay and to learn from them. It is a very long work, a very long process.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ambassador Satchu, for your presence here and for your lectures. And at the same time, I thank you, the ONU and Professor Fenton, for making this happen. My question is, you as a woman, as a mom, as a head of diplomatic mission in New York of Kosovo institutions, as an embassy, since your topic was orientated in the leadership roles of women in transitional states, as Kosovo is in the phase of transition stage. So far in your mission, what are some of the common challenges that you have seen that other women worldwide have, as saying that we have, let's say, in Kosovo, and that we never maybe realize that in other countries also the woman has those challenges, and I would like to share some of them that you were surprised when you faced them.
Unfortunately, it is not only Kosovo that have the issue that needs still more to work, although in comparison to many countries we can be seen as a success story. But women were suppressed for hundreds and hundreds of years, and that's why we cannot, with one quota or with one affirmative measure, to compensate all these centuries of being a second-grade human beings and other. So I think that the challenges that we are facing are the challenges where your position is defined by somebody else. When you are students, your success is only because of your work. And in that, in many cases, girls are more better students, having the better grades and working more and other. But when they go to another stage, when they go to the work where somebody else decide about your position, or somebody else need to vote for you, and that woman who is very happy to be beaten when she deserves is a voter, and she's not the only one. There are a lot of people who don't think that women deserve to be in a decision-making position, and they will not vote for you, even if you are brilliant. They will vote for a mediocre man rather than a brilliant woman. And that's why you start to face this ceiling, that glass ceiling. that you can see, you know your abilities, but those abilities are not guaranteed for your success because somebody else needs to believe in you also. That's why we thought that we need to create that critical mass of women so people get used to see them, to talk about diplomacy, about energy, about things that they didn't imagine. First, they will laugh at you. They will say, she don't know anything. What are you talking? Let a man to talk about this. But day after day, they will start to see you, and it will not be anymore something to make a deal about that. But we need to work a lot to convince people that if you vote for a woman, she will help to improve your life, maybe better than a man. That was the idea of making this mobile mammography. When we gathered, all women were pushing that process, telling that we can do something for you. We don't need to be men to do that for you, to improve your life. It's very long work, very long path to do. And I think another thing that women should also learn is that when you are in a position, you need to take another woman and bring to that position. Because if you go and that position remains vacant, then you did nothing.
Thank you.
I think we can take one more question. Asif?
As you mentioned in your constitution that for gender equality is very insisted, and you have allocated 53% of women in the parliament. I want to know about the quality of education of women. Are women enough educated in Kosovo to function independently, all the positions that they have, or in some extent they are influenced by the men? My next question is, how is the support of men to the women, especially those activities that you have for empowerment of women?
I think that Kosovo is also a country where there are different people. There are still people who think that women should stay home and not work and to discourage them to do. But there are also, and I believe every day more and more men who are encouraging. And I will tell you a story how I entered to politics. It's an interesting story. I was then working with Motorola, installing repeaters and antennas all over Kosovo, programming radios for police and for security forces and I didn't think about politics. And then a new political party started. And they went to ask my husband to join that political party. And my husband said, thank you very much, I'm very honored. But I know a person who is still not aware, but is perfect for politics. And he came to me. He said, I proposed you. I said, come on, I have a lot of work to do. I'm doing well, I'm earning a lot of money and making my company, I don't need politics. But after some days, he convinced me that our young country needs people who believe in that, who have energy, and who can contribute something, to get together and to do that. And I'm thankful that he believed in me even more than I did at the time. And I believe that every day there are more and more men, more and more husbands and brothers who encourage their sisters and wives to go further, to ask for more in their life, to achieve more.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We have some gifts. Alvana contacted me through Fattori's Facebook page, I believe it was, saying, gee, we understand there are some Kosovo students here at Ohio Northern. And we corresponded at great length. And she made sure that I had every detail handled so that when the ambassador came, it would go as smoothly as it has.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much, I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Madam Ambassador, this is a copy of the poster that you saw.
Oh, thank
So-
you.
And these are for you. We thank you very much and appreciate what you brought to us.
Thank you so much. I believe that our cooperation with the universities in Pristina and with the mission of New York